Hello! In this video we are going to practice using the past simple, and that's why the title of this lesson is Past Simple Practice 2. Actually, it's 2 out of 3 practice lessons that we have. This is practice 2. The objective is use the past simple tense to tell a short story. So you're going to tell a short story, and for that I have a little example here of a very short story, actually the introduction of a story, but I wanted to use this to help you review the pronunciation of regular verbs in the past. All right? So pay attention, please. The story starts like this. Luisa lived with her parents and her younger sister. You see how, do you notice how I pronounce lived? Because the verb live ends in a consonant that makes your throat vibrate when you pronounce it. Live. If you touch your throat here, you will see that it vibrates. Live, lived. And because it vibrates, the pronunciation of the ed is a consonant that also vibrates, which is the consonant D. Lived, lived. All right? And look at the next verb. When Luisa finished high school, the verb finish ends in sh. It's a sound that doesn't make your vocal cords vibrate. Finish, nothing happens. When that happens, we add the sound t, like a T, for the pronunciation of ed. When Luisa finished high school, all right? So the idea is that because finish is a voice, ends in a voiceless sound, finish, we add a voiceless sound for the ed, finished. It will be very unnatural to say finished. It is very hard. So we say finished and lived. Now, she moved. How to pronounce the final ed there? Move. She moved to a new city and, you already know it, lived in an apartment by herself. Her sister joined, it vibrates, so we add d, joined her a few years later, and they continue. When there's a vowel, always vibrates, continue, so we add the d sound. And they continued to work and live there until one of them got married. That is an irregular verb. All right? So that will help you remember the conjugation of the verbs of some regular verbs, and that instance that we have there of an irregular verb. But the important thing is that you remember the pronunciation of ed. We never say ed or ed unless we have a t or a d before. All right, so this is the practice activity. The first one that we have is imagine life in a small town in your country 50 years ago. 50 years ago, when your parents probably were not born yet or were very, very young. Describe what the following people did on a regular day. So you're going to imagine life in your city 50 years ago. And what these people do. What did these people do? The baker, person that makes bread, the carpenter, little children. What did they do? Your grandparents, they probably were alive. And what did they do? What were they doing all the time? What did they do in the past? 50 years ago, what did they do on a regular day? Think about it for a moment, and I would like for you to write these 4 sentences describing what these people did in the past 50 years ago in your city. Go ahead. Pause my video, complete the activity. All right, thank you. Thank you very much for having done that. And here I have some sample answers. Let's see, they may be similar to what you wrote. The baker baked fresh bread every day. That's what bakers do. That's what they did every day. The carpenter made furniture for the people in town. All right, made furniture. Little children played, remember the pronunciation, played outside every day after school. That sounds natural, normal. Finally, my grandparents because we're asking you about your grandparents, of course, you're going to say, my grandparents were very young and liked to listen to music. They were. I like it when we use the forms of be in the past, because that reminds us that irregular verb is very useful in English, and we need to practice using it to keep it fresh in our minds. My grandparents were very young and liked, so like doesn't vibrate, so pronounce t, liked to listen to music. All right, music. Thank you for having done that and for having reviewed that activity with me. And now we're coming to our main activity. It's like this. You are going to write a short story about a fictional character, somebody who doesn't exist, fictional character, using the images provided as an inspiration. So look at these images. Yes. All right, so it's kind of a fantastic story, right? Write a summary of your story, just a summary, not the whole plot, just a summary of your story. You can include elements that you see in the pictures, and some of these words if you like. So you already know because of the picture, but I'm giving you the word castle, forest, good work, princess, that could be your fictional character if you like, creatures, because in fantastic stories sometimes we have different kinds of creatures, and take care. I like that two-word verb because that is what we do with things that we like. We take care of them. All right. So think about a short story, a summary of the short story that you would like to write with this, and write it down. And when you're finished, you are going to compare your answers with mine. For now, pause my video, complete the activity, and when you're ready, you resume the activity to see my sample answer. Okay? Pause my video, complete the activity, please. All right, I hope that you did it. And here I have a simple summary of a short story that a boy wrote. He said, once there was a beautiful princess. That is the way we start. Once there was a beautiful princess who lived in a big castle near the woods, like the forest. That's another word for forest. She loved animals very much, and she took care of them as well. She liked to ride her horse, because of the picture, her horse in the field every day. Sometimes she stayed outside until it was night time. I like this. Has very good details. The princess helped all the small creatures, thank you for using that word, the small creatures in the forest. When she was tired, she went back to her castle to sleep. She loved being a princess very much. That is our fictional character, and that is the summary of this story. All right? I know that you may have written something different, but remember that in this lesson, what we have done as a review is that we have practiced using verbs, and we emphasized the use of regular verbs, and especially when we pronounce those verbs, we need to be careful. And that's why I would like for you to practice your pronunciation. I am going to pause my video so that you can listen to the pronunciation by the native speaker, and when you hear him, please repeat after him. Go ahead. Listen and practice, please.
Once there was a beautiful princess who lived in a big castle near the woods. She loved animals very much, and she took care of them as well. She liked to ride her horse in the field every day. Sometimes she stayed outside until it was nighttime. The princess helped all the small creatures in the forest. When she was tired, she went back to her castle to sleep. She loved being a princess very much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for having practiced your pronunciation. And in this lesson that we have dedicated to practicing the past simple, remember that we emphasize the pronunciation of those ed forms. All right? Thank you. Thank you very much. And I will see you in the next practice activity.